Hey, greetings everyone. It's GleeCon back again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. On our last episode, we got closer and closer to finishing off the Barrens, probably the single largest zone in World of Warcraft Classic. With our Orc Warrior, we found a rare drop and killed a couple other mobs, as well as just running around doing things very close. I think we've got one more episode left before we wrap that zone up. We've also been reading through for some time now the Dungeons and Dragons World of Warcraft role-playing game. We originally read Warcraft, the role-playing game, and all of these source books that went with that, and we've been reading for probably an even longer time the World of Warcraft kind of reboot on those same books, a rewrite. It's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons source books, and we're at the end. We're in the last book, in the last few chapters. This one's called Dark Factions, and we are now on the last of the Dark Factions. We will have 3 chapters that we'll zoom through after this. We spent a long time on this one, but after this one, we've probably got about 3 episodes left, and then we're completely done with anything that was ever officially published under the World of Warcraft or Warcraft banner in Dungeons and Dragons. So stay a while and listen as we jump in. Last time we did the Twilight's Hammer, and this time we're going to talk about the Zandalari Tribe. It has a membership of 27,000, and they are true neutral. I guess they're not beholden to either side, and really, I would say they're more true neutral in the sense that they're player characters. You can be Zandalari now, but back then you couldn't. The Zandalari Troll Tribe is based on the Isle of Zandalar in the South Seas, but recently emissaries have traveled to southern Azeroth around Stranglethorn Vale, and we also know they're kind of not. They're in the South Seas, really. They're over there by Kultiras and stuff. The Zandalari serve as an overall priest caste for Azeroth's trolls and spend much of their time researching ancient knowledge and magic. They also oppose Hakar. Zandalar is an island in the South Seas to the southwest of Westfall on Azeroth. Okay, so that's been changed. I guess that's kind of true. Okay, ish. On this island live trolls, thousands upon thousands of trolls. It is understandably a difficult place to visit for a lone dwarf or anyone else who isn't a troll. The Zandalari tribe is the progenitor race from which all other troll tribes sprang. I mean, that's also subject to interpretation. There were the dark trolls, I guess, that the Night Elves sprang from. That's really the progenitor race of trolls. I don't know that those would be considered Zandalari. Tens of thousands of years ago, 2 great troll empires appeared, the Amani and the Gurbashi. The Amani were forest trolls, and the Gurbashi were jungle trolls. Amani and Gurbashi were the names of the 2 largest and most powerful troll tribes, which is why the empires received their names. These early empires eventually clashed with the nascent Night Elves. Drawing arcane magic from the Well of Eternity, the Night Elves shocked the trolls by handing them a rapid and resounding defeat. The Night Elves pushed the trolls out of some of their lands and were then able to establish the Night Elf Empire. One tribe of trolls in these ancient days was the Zandalari Tribe, the progenitor tribe from which all other trolls arose. Most Zandalari were scholarly and valued knowledge, however, a significant portion desired conquest instead. These disaffected trolls eventually left the Zandalari to found other tribes. The remaining Zandalari, then, were all of the scholarly and mystical bent. As time went on, other trolls came to regard them as an overarching priest caste for all trolls. The Zandalari preserved troll history, and they worked to further the goals of troll society as a whole. Though they had the respect and admiration of all other trolls, the Zandalari did not attempt to exert any power over them. They averaged, and still average, 8 feet in height, significantly larger than all other trolls save the savage Drakari of the far north. Despite their greater size and knowledge and the respect they commanded, the Zandalari did not wield sovereignty over the other trolls, nor did they seek such authority. When the Sundering came, the wise Zandalari trolls wove swift magics to protect their realm. The land around their territory shuddered, waves crashed in, and trees and soil sank beneath the waves. Through it all, the Zandalari's land remained largely intact. After the Sundering, the Zandalari discovered that their territory was now an island. Seeing no reason to leave it, they set about rebuilding their settlements and continuing their studies. Eventually, the Zandalari noticed that their Gurbashi brethren on the mainland were growing rapidly in power and territory, attributing their victories to the influence of the god Hakar. At first, the Zandalari were glad for their fellow trolls. However, as Zul'Grub continued to expand, the Zandalari's pleased surprise turned to disquiet. They consulted myths and delved into historical accounts, and what they learned horrified them. Hakar was also known as the Soul Flayer, a name he had richly earned. He filled his adherents with murderous rage and reveled in their dark emotions. The carnage that invariably followed Hakar suited him perfectly, for having consumed blood, he had developed a taste for it. Worst, he became more powerful as he consumed the blood shed in his name, and his tie to the world that was feeding him grew stronger. Every Zandalari who could fight immediately set out for Stranglethorn Vale and brought the terrible tidings to the jungle trolls. The Gorobashi Empire was already in a state of civil unrest due to the numerous sacrifices that Hakar was demanding, while with the Zandalari Tribe's news, the jungle trolls banded together with the Zandalari Tribe and rose up in open revolt against the bloodthirsty Soul Flayer. More information on Hakar and the Civil War appears above in the Atalai and Hakari section. I was going to say, I feel like we've read a bunch of this. Zandalar has long been the heart of all troll culture throughout the world. Zandalari are their own separate sort of troll, not jungle trolls, not forest trolls, not ice or dark or sand. However, several groups of other trolls live on Zandalar, including jungle trolls beneath the canopy and ice trolls on snowy Mount Mugamba. The Zandalari's overall goal remains what it always has been, to maintain troll history and continue their research. They also, again, oppose Hakar. As I described above under the Atalai and Hakari, these are dark times for Azeroth. A group of evil troll priests has summoned the bloodthirsty god Hakar into the world. Physically, he's here. The Zandalari are again his enemies, though they don't have the numbers to attack his priests directly. Instead, they recruit adventurers of all stripes to strike at Hakar and the trolls who follow him. Every 6 years, Zandalar also plays host to a meeting of all troll tribes. Trolls from all over the world meet in the great ziggurat city of Zuldazar to discuss matters of importance to all trolls. Zandalar is neutral ground for trolls. Though many tribes don't get along with each other, they all meet on peaceful terms in Zandalar. It's true. Though many trolls might seem like bloodthirsty savages, a larger, more unifying force is at work. Zandalari are friends of all trolls. Friends might not be the right word actually, but the tribe is devoted to furthering the lot of all trolls. I mentioned that the island is neutral territory for all trolls, which speaks to the respect the other trolls have for the Zandalari. Even if, say, the Witherbark and Bloodscalp tribes aren't getting along, they don't kill each other when they go to Zandalar. They don't even punch each other. The hostilities end on Zandalar. Other trolls hold the Zandalari in great respect, as they are the descendants of the original Zandalari and thus a direct link with the trolls' mighty history. The exception, of course, is the Atalai, whom the Zandalari oppose. See the Atalai and Hakari above for more information. As for other races, at this point it's difficult to say. The Zandalari trolls are not evil, but their interests lie with trolls, not with the other races. They have no desire for conquest or expansion, and they work with other races in their opposition to Hakar. However, they are certainly unfriendly to non-troll visitors on the shores of Zandalar. That I can report from personal experience. In short, I'm glad to see exceptions like the Zandalari who prove that not all trolls are bloodthirsty cannibals, but I don't think we can completely trust these fellows either. So there is hope. Years ago and again today, the Zandalari realized that Hakar was a mistake. Was their decision to oppose him motivated solely by a racial survival instinct, or was there something moral involved in their decision? I ruminate in this way because in modern times I see trolls acting in more enlightened, civilized ways. The Darkspear jungle trolls have joined the horde and curbed their natural or unnatural tendencies. The Rivan Tusk forest trolls have been good people for a long time, and the Zandalari arrive on Azeroth's west coast for the first time in millennia not to invade, but to enlist our help against Hakar, who threatens us all. King Rastakhan, a hoary and formidable witch doctor, rules the Zandalari from his capital of Zuldazar. The Zandalari are mystical and ancient trolls who revere knowledge and history. Their organization is loose. They represent an overall priest caste for all trolls, yet they do not attempt to parlay this position into real power with those trolls. Zandalar is a sizable island a ways southwest of Westfall. Two huge mountains rise from its green canopy. One of these mountains is in fact the great ziggurat city Zuldazar, while the other is snowy Mount Mugamba. Other smaller ziggurats, the domains of troll priests and witch doctors, also jut from the jungle, and birds and stranger beasts flit above and among the trees. Troll priests and witch doctors live all over the island. It is a lush and tropical place, and a deadly one. More information on Zandalar appeared in when we covered Lands of Mystery. Recently, a few Zandalari have traveled to Azeroth where they recruit adventurers in Westfall, Stranglethorn Vale, and other members to combat Hakar. Now, what if you wanted to be a Zandalar troll? Well, As described in the Monster Guide, the Zandalari are not jungle trolls. They are Zandalar trolls. They use the same statistics as jungle trolls with the following modifications. They gain +2 to strength and get they have large size, which gives them a -1 penalty to their armor class, attack rolls, and a -4 penalty on their hide checks, but a +4 bonus to their grapple checks. Their lifting and carrying limits are also double those of medium characters. And they count as 1 level higher than whatever their sheet says. Unlike most creatures with racial levels, Zandalari are powerful enough to require a level adjustment in addition to their racial levels. Okay? You are either born a Zandalari or you're not. You can't enter into the tribe unless your mommy is a Zandalari. So not your daddy. The trolls of the Zandalari tribe are among the largest, strongest trolls in the world. The Drakari ice trolls of Northrend are just as big. They are just as ferocious as other trolls and just as cunning, if not more so. A typical Zandalari spends his days hunting in the jungles or fishing along the coastlines. Many spend their days researching ancient lore and cataloging history. Religion is important to the Zandalari. They are the trolls' priest caste, after all, and they revere their pantheon of primitive animalistic gods that take the forms of bats, snakes, and the like, the Loa. Zandalar priests carve totems and engage in rituals, while Zandalar witch doctors brew potions and administer to wounded trolls. The Zandalari are constantly vigilant against invaders, and their leader is King Rastakhan, the male jungle troll. King Rastakhan is a repository of troll lore. He is strong, wise, insightful, cunning, and visionary. He's a big part of the reason that Zandalar's influence is again felt in the world, as he is instrumental in organizing the 6-year troll conferences and in sending representatives to work against Takar. Most other trolls respect him as a powerful and wise leader. Numerous loyal priests and witch doctors assist Rastakhan, and he shows his wisdom in which advice he heeds and which he ignores. Rastakhan is a patient but decisive ruler. And in Lands of Mystery, his stats and battle tactics were already included. Okay, what if you wanted to play an adventure as a hero of the Zandalari tribe? The most obvious way that heroes might interact with the Zandalari is by running into or seeking out one of their agents on the mainland and accepting a quest to foul Hakar's plans. Now that's how you would do it in Classic. Another interesting idea is a campaign in which the heroes are Zandalari trolls. In this capacity, the heroes strike out from Zuldazar performing missions for Rastakhan or a lesser member of the tribe. The Zandalari aren't interested in politics and get along with anyone who helps them strike at Hakar and his priests. I think that's kind of changed. A lot of this has been definitely modified and changed, and that's why this stuff is only just canon adjacent. The Zandalari, thus the heroes may find themselves joining forces with Alliance or Horde adventurers on occasion. Zuldazar's storehouses are vast, and the tribe rewards its people well. If the heroes are successful in their endeavors, their rewards are gold, magic, favor with the rest of the Zandalari tribe, and greater autonomy to further their tribe's goals. And here's a couple adventures. One could be that many a Coatl exist on Zandalar, and Motrek, a witch doctor in Orgrimmar, wants to study their venom to see if he can replicate it with other natural ingredients. He hires a group of heroes to capture 20 Coatl and transport them to Orgrimmar. Okay, or a Night Elf historian wants to question that Zandalari about the ancient magic that protected them from the Sundering. She knows that the Zandalari consider the island sacred, though, and don't want outsiders despoiling it. Diplomacy is not her strong suit. She hires a group of heroes to act as bodyguards and spokespeople on her behalf. We did it. Okay, we finished all the dark factions. There are 3 chapters left. I think one is kind of talking about how to play some of this stuff from either battle or maybe even war. There have been chapters throughout these choice books that talk about how to run like large scale, almost like Warhammer style campaigns. There's probably a bestiary, and then there's probably a final chapter that has some fleshed out adventures. And we'll bust through each of those, probably one episode per chapter. So in just a few episodes, we'll finally be moving on to a short little interlude project of a couple books I have set up for us in this non-canon material. But thank you. We have another episode in the pipe 5x5. Thanks everyone so much for watching and for listening. And I'll see you next time on Lore of Warcraft.